Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining. We are joined by Eileen.
Hello, everybody.
She's got her singing bowls. I love it, Crystal, singing bowls. Very nice.
We'll save those for later.
Okay, so those are the solar plexus, second chakra.
Yeah. So I got these on Amazon from China for $110 each, because some crystal bowls go up to thousands of dollars if they contain ruby and emerald and morganite, malachite. Mine just contain rock crystal. Yeah, so you can see they're just like, at least they're crystals from the ground, right, and not man-made crystal, which is full of lead. Mm-hmm. And this one is an E. And it's for the solar plexus. It feeds energy into the solar plexus. The more you go around, the louder it gets. And that little echo is its own thing. It's not because I'm doing it differently. It just gets into wow, wow, wow. So if I was good at this, which I'm not, I could play both, see, but I can't. I know a lady named Kathy who plays 18 or 20 bowls. I think she's played 26. Okay, so here, can you hear me, is A sharp. Mm-hmm. You can tell us what a sharp is, I don't know. And that's for the pineal gland, which is the Anja, right? Chakra in the middle of your head. Oh, I forgot to switch my microphone into stereo.
Oh, it doesn't come through that way, though. It is for you, though. But it doesn't come through. I guess Hangouts
probably got rid of stereo. Probably. They're not bad together. What do you think? E and A sharp would normally clash, right? As a musician?
No, isn't it E sharp and A sharp?
Nope. I got a straight E and I got a straight A sharp. So I like it together. But normally I would think that a sharp would clash with a whole note.
I don't know. I don't think they do.
No.
I think it just gives it a brighter, happier sound or something.
So I can bring one of these maybe to Iseti. So the pineal gland one, right? The Anja, third eye chakra.
I could totally feel that right between my temples.
Wow. It's making you go blurry too. Let's see how loud it can get. I'm playing it left-handed.
Very nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, one more for the solar plexus, though. We can't negate, which is yellow. And the third eye chakra is kind of an indigo, probably less purple than its case. Mm-hmm. More of an indigo, a little more blue in it. Some people play just the front.
Yeah, you can do that with the big ones. Whoops.
Because I've never done that before. I've never played just the front. It's easier to knock over than going around it.
Yeah.
So you've got a metal brass Tibetan bowl, right? Does it sound anything like crystal bowls?
No. Nothing like that. No.
I like both.
But when we were in Austin and Angie had a bunch and she had, I think mine's just so small, but it's actually a surprisingly deep sound that for its size, I think. But some of them had a really nice deep tone to them because she had a few, and then I think she had like one of her family members had a few there, so we had quite a few to play with there. And they were, we were playing it and deciding like, where do you feel it? Yeah, I feel it kind of, and you can kind of tell,
Where does yours go? Do you know what note you have? Your little bowl, what note that is?
Mine is a purple one, so it's for the pineal gland, but I don't know what note it plays. I guess I should check that out. Yeah.
Well, these are affordable. You have to wait a month. And of course, you're shopping in China. And I know we like to do American made and support American workers. But I looked at the bowls made in America and they start at $1,000. So I had to go to China. I had no choice in the matter. It was like $220 for two or $2,000 for two. So, win the lottery, then I'll buy American made crystal bowls and they'll put all kinds of cool rocks in it. Like gold and platinum or moldavite, and things like that. Yeah.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to have some of those. I think that'd be really cool.
The other thing I'm bringing is, I don't know if you can see these because I'm so far away from my camera tonight. Can you see these stones? Too far?
No, I can kind of see it. What kind is that?
This is golden tiger eye.
Okay. I thought it was something with the tiger or something.
Yeah, I'll go really close because it'll look pretty, I think. We'll see. We'll experiment. Does that show? Yeah.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Looks incredible.
So, I don't know how many we have coming. Do you think 30 or 40 would be enough, or do you think we're going to have 50? Because then I have to go out and get more.
I don't know. I emailed them. They're not hitting me back, so I don't know.
So the tiger's eye releases fear and releases anxiety and promotes harmonious actions. And I thought, what a beautiful stone for our group.
Yeah.
This tiger eye is from Madagascar, where my dad used to work. It's mostly from Africa.
Yeah.
Tiger's eye. I don't know if it comes from anywhere else in the world but Africa. And it's just a beautiful glistening stone that does kind of look like a cat's eye if you cut it round and polish it and use it in like animals' eyes, like statues. It would make them look like real cat's eyes.
Oh, wow. That'd be neat. So that's cool. So you were thinking about bringing enough?
Yeah, I want to bring enough and put them in a big velvet bag and let people just pick one to take home. And then maybe leave one on the sacred grid.
Wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, what's it called?
Medicine wheel?
Yeah, the medicine wheel.
Yeah.
Maybe leave a tiger's eye on the medicine wheel.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. Yeah, I'm excited about seeing that. I think you can actually see it from Google Earth.
Really?
Yeah, I did see something. I'm not sure if that's what I'm seeing, but you can see some kind of circular pattern. So that's really cool if you can see it,
I know they have them in Sedona too. Supposedly, the idea of them is that when you walk them and meditate, they increase the power of your meditation because you're doing the circular walk. Right. And that's the way a vortex goes. That's the way a toroidal field goes. That's the way energies clocks go. So as you're meditating and you're walking this peaceful walk in a circle, you're just amplifying. And of course, who was it who taught us? I think it was Lynne McTaggart with the Power of 8, who said, if you pick a meditation spot in your house or in nature, the more you pray and meditate there, the more sacred that site becomes, because it holds the memory of the prayer and the meditation. So a lot of people have like a prayer room and produce a little altar where they put precious things. And that's why when you go to sacred sites like cathedrals and things, they're heavy with emotion. The air is full of emotional energy that's been left behind.
That's amazing. Yeah. Feisty Kitty is saying she heard that tiger's eye is good for protection when traveling.
Ooh, thank you, nice. Feisty Kitty. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a whole bag of them for everybody, so I'm going to be good traveling.
And then also, what you're saying, that makes a lot more sense why they march around that big old black cube.
Oh,
is
yeah.
Is that Mecca or something?
Yeah, Mecca. Did you know that there was a very old black meteorite stone in the corner of that cube?
Huh.
Check it out on a video and look at it. And it's probably like this big.
But it's
And
like
it's
the cornerstone of the
the
big.
cornerstone of the big black box, which we know D-Wave is mimicking, right? They made the D-Wave box to match the Mecca box, right? And in the corner is a black meteorite that fell to Earth. So they do believe that in ancient times, that was taken from somewhere else where they worshiped the meteorite.
Wow. So
Yeah,
that
that's.
cube thing's been there a while. What do you know about that black cube thing?
I know that it goes counterclockwise, like the rings of Saturn. So the way that it goes is important, and then you start on the outside and you work your way up to the top until you can the inside until you can touch the meteorite. You want to touch it, and there's like pictures of people with like doing selfies with it, as you do. And I think I read the Quran. I grew up in the Middle East, but I'm not Muslim or Islamic. But I think you have to make one pilgrimage to Mecca in your life. But people go more often than that.
Okay, I just never put two and two together. I remember hearing about that a while back. The
You
whole
pray to Mecca
pilgrimage,
5 times a day, starting at sunrise, ending at
right?
sunset. And everywhere you are in the world, if you're Muslim, you face Mecca. How cool is that? Talk about, and you do it at the same time. So
So that's
talk about
why they always, if they're here in the
power.
States, they look to the east or whatever.
Exactly. And if they do it at the same time, imagine the combined power that they're creating in the emotions of the prayer, uniting,
Directing their intentions at this
directing
big,
their intentions.
this big cube. So
Yep, with a meteorite in it.
that's so wow. I can't believe I hadn't heard about that before.
Yeah, check it out. Just there's YouTube videos and then there's pictures on the regular Google searches. I forgot what it's called. It has a name. I just call it the black box holding the
Sounds like
meteorite.
it's it sounds like it's been around since before Muhammad, or is that?
Well, the meteorite certainly was, but maybe not the box. And if you read the Quran, it's just the third part 3 of the Bible. It belongs in the same book. You've
Mm,
got the Old Testament based on the Torah and the Talmud. One was
right,
spoken, one was written. Angry God, right? And
right.
then you've got Jesus and the New Testament with the loving God. And
Hmm.
then you've got Muhammad through Archangel Gabriel, who's in all 3 books. They all share the same angels and they share the
Right.
same creation story.
Hmm.
They're in the same part of the world. If they're not the same people, they're at least cousins, according to DNA. Very closely related by blood, right? The
Well, it
Jews.
surprisingly reads a lot like the Bible. Like you read these stories, and of course, instead of it being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it's Abraham and Ishmael. But I mean, it's even mentioned in the Bible that he was the firstborn, but God said no. Wait for Sarah to have a child and all this. But
It's
it tells it from the other side. Tells it from
yeah.
the other side as he was the firstborn. I'm like, wow, he really was the firstborn. It even says it in the Bible, and I'm like, really thinking about this and like all the years of, you know, back and forth, this family squabble basically.
It's
How
still
much?
going on today.
Yeah, and it's still going on today. This is like what when you look at these extremists. This is getting back to
But
these two
they're the
brothers,
extremists.
these half brothers of Abraham.
Yeah, they see us as the extremists.
Right, we're
It's
the infidels. I
opposite
know.
side
Oh
of the
yeah.
same story. And if you put them all in one book and bind them in leather, you will have the Abrahamic religions. The fact that it's taken out is like, it's just wrong because it's
Yeah.
the same stories, the same angels, the same flood, the same Noah. Talks very highly about Jesus
Yeah, it
in the
does.
Quran and says he was a wonderful, amazing prophet like our great Muhammad. And the only thing that I found that I read the Oxford version of the Quran, the only thing I didn't like was that Muhammad corrected both the New Testament and the Old Testament. So in the Old Testament, you can kill and smite everybody and everything. Okay. That is clearly written into all the stories, right? Even God does some smiting along the way, right? In the New Testament, you don't kill and smite anything or anyone, right? And then in the Quran, which is part 3 of the same book, right? You don't kill and smite unless they are threatening to take away your religion and your faith. Your faith. You do not kill, you do not smite unless your faith is challenged. Now, how interesting is that? Those are the three main differences. They all have the flood. They all have Noah. They have Abraham, the 12 tribes. They have the angels, the fallen angels. They have Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Like you said, Sarah and Ishmael, right?
Yeah.
Instead.
Yeah.
So the only difference is who you can kill and when you can kill. Old Testament, everything and everyone that challenges you. I mean, that might be a broad stroke, but they did a lot of smiting. New Testament, no one ever.
Well, if you think about it, one of the main writers of the New Testament was smiting all sorts of Christians. Paul as Saul before he had his road to Damascus experience. So
yes, I forget about that.
Isn't that something?
And of course, all the Christians were smited and put to lions, put to death by Rome, which actually runs the church now. It's like, how did our biggest smiters take over control of the religion, right?
Yeah. Starting with Paul.
Yes. And then, of course, then you have, and these are broad strokes because I'm not a theologist.
Right, yeah.
In Islam, you may not kill unless, and the caveat is when a group of people or a person tries to remove your faith from you, your relationship with God, then you may kill. I find that fascinating.
That's a little bit ambiguous. I mean, you can say that about anything, can't you? That somebody's they're trying to remove my faith. You know what I mean?
Yes, you could, but back then, when I read the Quran, it made sense in the fact that these were warring tribes in Arabia that were smiting each other for camels, for women, for slaves, for money, for gold. So at the time it was written, it made great sense. It said, do not smite, kill anybody ever. You had to treat slaves well. Yeah. You had to treat your brother's wives well when you took them on as your own wives, just like they did in the Bible. But the only one that it said you actually can kill, God says you can, if they're trying to destroy your relationship with God. And I was like, that is fascinating. I'm not saying I go along with it. I'm just saying it's really interesting considering when it was written, 500 AD, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Buddha,
I was just
BC, yeah. Jesus Buddha, in the middle, Muhammad 500 AD. Didn't we figure that out in one show?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I know it was after the Council of Nicaea, which was like 300 or 400.
Yeah.
So it was it might even been like 700.
Might have been 600.
7th century, 600 and something, I think is what it was.
So if you're living in Arabia with warring tribes constantly killing your tribe because they were competing for resources.
It's been going on for 2,000 years.
Traveling in the desert for 2,000 years, harsh conditions.
Yeah.
Then what Muhammad wrote made perfect sense. It worked for the time it was written.
Yeah, so really people are sent, these avatars, as some call it, are sent to bring a message that's needed at the time. And I find it really interesting that, they've had all of their messages twisted in one form or another to sort of fit whoever's running. Yeah.
Take the messages and go, well, how can this benefit us?
Yeah.
And then that's the message that they put out. But it's up to the individual in the collective to go and read the books. Mm-hmm. Do your own research. Don't believe what anybody tells you. Don't believe me. Don't believe Shane. Go get the Quran and read it for yourself, and then you can interpret it your own way.
So I think there's a lot going on with that, because you've got what the Bible actually says and then what doctrine teaches that, like myself, I see them as two different things, you know what I mean? So when you look at it that way, then you can see how you can actually look at the Quran in an unbiased way, like not part of the religion, just like as a historical document.
Historical record.
Yeah. And it meshes nicely with the other Abrahamic religions. It really does.
I read it as a historical document, and that used to upset a lot of Christians. They're like, how dare you read it as a historical document?
But even esoteric, too. I mean, there's some deeper meaning that you can get from the Bible.
Loads of esoteric wisdom.
Yeah.
So I see it as a very valuable and precious thing, but I don't see it as I'm in the middle only. I reject the first book. I reject the third book. I have to call the Quran the third book of the Bible because it was written 500 years after Jesus died, or 600 years. So It belongs. They all belong together. They all were written by the same people living in the same place, roughly in the same time, over, thousands of years of living in very harsh conditions and very harsh realities. Life was brutal and short,
Yeah. And I think it says a lot about Jesus as well, the fact that he's spoken about so much, even in the Quran, like you were saying. And it's like, I don't know, it just validates the fact that he was really this person that was well respected, just across all sorts of cultures, because the story continues on.
Well, aren't we the extension of Jesus now? We're the ones who say, love everyone, smite no one, turn the other cheek, respect and love life. So we're still carrying that message on.
Well, now there's scripture. And I'd love to get your opinion on this, because I know you'll hear when people talk about some of the extremists and Islamic extremists, they'll always point to a couple of scriptures where it says, like, lie in wait and kill the infidel or things like that. And it's sort of like, you hear it's like sort of like just grabbing some old scripture out of the Bible as well. I mean, there's so many different things you could go back there and just sort of cherry pick to make it sound horrible or whatever. But how does that fit in? Did that come from Muhammad or?
Just what I said, where God justifies killing those who try to remove your faith.
Okay.
And faith meaning your relationship with God.
Right.
Not a church, not a mosque, not a synagogue, not a priest, not a rabbi, not an imam. Am I saying it right? The person who leads the
imam. Yeah.
It was anyone who threatens your faith, your belief in God, your relationship with God.
So that's how it's sort of taken out of context, and it makes it sound like you can just,
fight and kill anybody who believes differently to you. Right. Let's put it that way. It's been translated into,
exactly.
If people don't agree with you, kill them. But
exactly, that's how it sounds when
feel that way about Middle Easterners. That's how it's sold to us here for political expediency, because then we can go, go get them. Now they're talking about another war in Iran. Well, they don't want us to know that the Iranians are intelligent, caring, loving people just like us, which they are.
Yeah.
And
that's the funny thing about it. Whenever you talk to real people that actually go over to Iraq or Iran and meet the people, it's like they're both surprised at how nice each other are. It's like, oh, we've heard such horror stories about you guys.
I've met them all. I've met Iranians, I've met Iraqis, I've met Egyptians.
It's all part of the propaganda of the state, do you think? Just to keep everybody where you're sort of scared to go anywhere and to...
Completely. But it's not just us. They're doing the same thing to their people over there.
Right, yeah, because it works both ways.
It works both ways. Yeah. It's sad, but it's true. And that's what we're changing here. Exactly. We just have to figure out how to do it peacefully. And I've been thinking of solutions, and their system only works so long as we buy into it and do it. Mm-hmm. Buy their products, buy their phones, watch their programming, buy their video games, go to their movies. As long as we buy into the system, we're supporting the existing system. That's all I can say. If there's any alternative ever, use it, do it. If you can find something locally made instead of something brought in from China at $1 and sold to you for $25, if you're going to spend $25, pay it to the guy down the street to make it, Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Solutions. We need solutions.
Well, I've thought about that, like it seems like you would have to really tear it all down, but it also seems like there might be enough white hats mixed in throughout the whole system to just turn it around too. Not saying that there wouldn't need to be some huge changes.
My hair's black and yours is kind of taupe, but we're the white hats. Because, do we really want to give up our phones? No, I don't. Do you?
I just don't want them trying to mind control me with it or something.
I know, but do you want to sell it and not buy another one?
No.
Either. That's the
dilemma. I appreciate
the
technology.
Me too.
Okay. And I think it only hurts us because, think about this channel, YouTube. We can say, oh, that's ran by such and such, I'm not going to use it. Or we can use it to our benefit. And
we're here. Look, we're here together. because of
Thank
YouTube.
you, YouTube.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate
YouTube. Awesome.
it.
I know. Maybe we don't give it enough gratitude.
Yeah.
And thanks to change it. You know how we say you change things with love and forgiveness?
Yeah.
Maybe we have to keep saying, thank you, YouTube. I love you, YouTube. And then YouTube will just start to morph into a gentler, kinder thing.
Perhaps they will.
I
But
don't
you know
know.
what? That brings me to something that's been kind of coming up in my life over and over again. And it's like, within our community, a lot of times we feel like we're star seeds from somewhere else. This isn't our planet because, our problem with the planet isn't nature usually. It's usually the people, right? So a lot of times it's like we're blaming Earth for the people of Earth, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the planet deserves our love and our affection, our attention. We need to send it tons of energy because it's like a living.
Tons of love.
Yeah.
Okay,
we need to stop feeling like we're from somewhere else and this isn't our home and own it. Because in this lifetime, this is where we're from. We're Earthlings.
We're Earthlings. We're from Earth, and we are.
And let's love the Earth and help it through this.
Even if this is our first time here, or our 100th time here instead of our 10,000th or millionth time here, whatever. Earth is our home, and we are Earthlings. I'm totally on board with what you're saying, and I think it's bad to negatively reject Earth. I think that's like hating your mother. It's like hating the life, the one that gave you life.
Exactly.
I think that's not good for us, and it's not good for Earth.
But I think it's reciprocal too. I think the more you love Earth, the more you're getting back that energy from Earth. The more we're grounded to.
The more Earth says, sorry, you're hating on me, so I can't help but the energy bouncing back is more hate to you. Right. Yeah. I don't want to send hate to you, but you're sending it to me, and it's bouncing back because it's reciprocal, in and out, back and forth.
And it is sort of blaming Earth for something that it's the people that,
Everybody just close your eyes and imagine Earth with no humans on it. It's paradise. Okay, so maybe some lions are eating some gazelle. I don't like to watch that. And then the orcas play with the seals. I really get mad at them. So maybe nature has its duality that we don't like. But is it enough to say, oh, destroy the planet? I never want to go there again. No. The lion's trying.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, and when you get out in nature and you spend time in nature, you really can take in that beauty, and really just appreciate how beautiful it is here.
It is. I personally would like to live in a place where even the animals get along, where the animals don't kill each other to eat. I mean, that would be my paradise, where everything cooperates compassionately.
The lion shall lie down with the lamb.
There you go. That's my next home. That's where I want to be. Maybe that's where I come from.
Yeah.
And Law of One talks about it in stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get to sixth density, they say, I've read all the books like 12 years ago, 10 years ago, that the beings in sixth density no longer have duality. There is no aggression. There is no war, right? There's only.
But you know what that also means, what you're saying here, and I think about this often. Everyone is expecting 5D to be 6D. Do you ever notice that?
It's not.
Right. When everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to get beyond this duality. Like, dude, that's like a whole nother floor above where we're going.
Yeah, I don't even know what 5D really is like. So let's get there and figure it out. Right? Absolutely. The other funny thing that is not too funny to newbies who haven't been reading this stuff forever and going back into ancient texts that wrote about it as well. Is they think they can take their bodies with them. And the fact of the matter is, the fifth dimension is not for a 3D body. And anywhere
it's already the light body once you hit 5D?
Yeah, and it could be a plasma body.
But aren't we technically light now? Or
we're light in matter. We're light in matter, and the matter is heavy light. And the spirit is light. And this is heavy light, right? Yeah, it's still made
kind
of
like hydrogen and oxygen. You stick them together, you get the heavy, dense water. But oxygen by itself is nice and light. So it's almost like
information and light. But think of the air around you. It's plasma. It contains light.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if 5D is the air around us and our bodies become like air? Air is not invisible and doesn't have any weight. Air is not a vacuum. It is plasma. it has energy and it has weight. What if that's 5D? What if that is the next light body, is to discard the heavy matter and go into a plasma body? And what if 6D is a light body, like the light emanating from a star that is not as heavy as matter, right?
Right.
So that's all I'm saying is don't necessarily expect to take your body with you. So it could be a kind of death, not a death, but you may wake up and go, oh my God, everything's so beautiful and rainbow and light because, oh, I can see right through my body. It's light. It's not heavy anymore.
You're reminding me of like how often I just sit and like really meditate and think on ideas or whatever. And you brought an idea back to mind that I crossed at some point, and it was like the whole reason this ancient serpent or snake symbolism is starting to come back into our awareness was because of this whole idea you're talking about, where it's almost like we're shedding a skin, right?
Yeah, snakes do that.
Yeah.
Alligators,
molting, or don't they call it molting or that?
Skin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's sort of like that. Except we're not moving to another. We're not just shedding 3D for more 3D. We're actually shedding away the 3D and leaving the light
to be the new, but the same soul, but in a slightly different dimension.
So you think it will require? Do you think the DNA changes we're seeing now will change into that eventually? Like maybe it'll take 100 years, or
people hate to hear, but you guys are all grown-ups and you're all like really open-minded. So this probably won't it'll freak out some of you. I know some of you, if you're listening, it's that book again that I need to send to you. Yeah. It's that book that was banned.
Oh, the Adam and Eve book.
Yeah. Because what I found out is, here it is. Here's that book that I managed to get a hold of that was banned by the CIA. They've released 50 pages. I've got 243 of it. So the idea in this book from a scientist named Chan Thomas, published in 1956 and then immediately taken off the market until it was partially released in 2017 on January 17th. With 13 million pages. So it was a dump, a document dump. And it's all available to you guys on CIA.gov.
Yeah. 50 pages of it.
56 pages of it is there, and that's enough. You read that, you'll know what's going on. So basically, he's saying that every 6,000 to 10,000 years, there is a cyclical reset on Earth. So it's obviously not a meteorite that comes by every 6,000 to 10,000 years, right? I mean, why would it be just in that time frame and not every 100,000 years, and then every 50,000 years, and then every 10 years? It would be all over the place if it was a meteorite. So what he's found is that the magnetic North Pole migrates, and it migrates south to the equator, where we have that bulge that you and I spoke of last week, but we said you can't see it. But the Earth is bulging at the equator, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's from the spin of it or whatever.
Okay, so the spin of it causes a bulge. As the North Magnetic Pole, which is sometimes a South Magnetic Pole, we only have one magnetic pole. As it gets closer to the bulge of the equator, when it gets close enough, it doesn't do this, which we all think that's the flip, and then the North Pole's on the south and the South Pole's on the north. No, the whole crust of the Earth comes loose, spins in the opposite direction, which fits in with April's BQH. And as the crust of the Earth shifts and moves around, because now it's loose, it's floating, the North Pole and South Pole can settle anywhere. So there's evidence of Hawaii having been the magnetic pole, north or south. It doesn't matter where it is. It'll, like, Hawaii will go up to the north and be magnetic north, or go down to the south and be magnetic south. Russia, Australia, North America has been the North Pole.
Okay, so what this is bringing to mind for me is how they've talked about how, North America's on some sort of mantle that like lifts it up,
He's
right?
talking about mantles. You got it. Not plates.
Okay.
Not tectonics. He's talking about mantles.
Right, because now what you're talking about is the inside moving independently from the crust. And,
yes.
And because of that, you're going to have low spots on the inside that wherever it rests, the land's going to sink down. So like where North America is up on a hump right now,
It's going to go low, low, low,
it could
low,
go
low.
low, and then at the same time, Atlantis might reemerge.
Like all the caves of South America, they were showing full of water underground, used to all be above ground. And they found a skeleton and a bunch of animals from 13,000 years ago. Those caves were habitable for humans and animals. Now they're all underwater. And this is in South America.
That would make sense why the Mediterranean.
This guy here is saying it, and I'm being his mouthpiece because I don't even know if he's alive anymore. His name's Chan Thomas, and he's a scientist. And you're going to read it. I'm going to get this for you.
So when we see that really makes a lot of things make sense, because when you look into the Mediterranean and they'll go off of the coast of there, and I think I could be wrong about that number. I think they found like 300 different cities in the Mediterranean or something. It was a real ridiculous amount.
Yes, and they even found, was it Krishna's city?
It's so ridiculous. I don't want to quote that and then be wrong about it. So
many cities under the water.
So if you think about this idea of the inside moving independent of the outside, if there was some kind of divot on the inside and it just happened to be where the Mediterranean rested, all of those cities would have just dropped right down into the divot.
Just figure out for the book that's very close to getting published, guys. It's in its end stages of layout and design. And final editing for any mistakes in it. Didn't we figure out in the research that the core of the Earth creates the magnetic shield? And right now, the magnetic shield is almost gone, guys. It's like torn up, broken, scattered, tugged to one side, and that is all kind of indicating the event. Like certain people who I do respect have different opinions on it. Like David Wilcock thinks it's going to be a solar flash. It's going to be, boom, a huge amount of radiation coming off the sun. But these guys expect another Noah's flood, a worldwide flood, because they expect the entire mantle to come loose and start to flip around in the opposite direction in all directions and then resettle.
Did they say it takes like 3 days for that to happen?
They didn't say 3 days. Isn't that interesting? What if it's like 300 years, and in the Bible they went 3 days of darkness, meaning 300 years or 3,000 years? Who knows? Because every time it happens, we lose all written record of humanity. So 6,000 years ago, who was here when it happened the last time? And they talked about Gilgamesh. And the Gilgamesh stories then became Noah. Gilgamesh predates Noah by a few thousand years. So Abraham went to Mesopotamia, to Babylon. Originally, they were Canaanites. They were Mesopotamians before they were slaves in Egypt. I had to look up the DNA and go, where does everybody fit in the ancient world?
Yeah.
So, these are not their neighbors, the Babylonians. That's who they were. They were all Mesopotamians, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, the whole region around the Mediterranean on the Middle Eastern side. Yeah. Northern Egypt, Sudan.
Well, have you done any research into, supposedly there's like one of the tribes of Israel like disappeared or something?
That's us. That's me. Not me personally, but I'm related only by blood, right? That's the tribe of Dan. And they became the Dananites, and they went north to Europe and settled in Scotland, Ireland, and Britain.
Okay, have you heard the theory about maybe they're the ones that went to the inner Earth?
No.
Do you think hollow Earth theory?
The ones that went north, and they created the Danube River.
Right.
And there's all this Dan stuff in Europe, and the Celts are supposedly the tribe of Dan.
Right. I think in the theory that I heard, they went north, but they continued north and then went into the inner Earth, and they've been hiding there or something.
It could be. Who knows? Because they were the seafarers. They were the tribe of Israel that loved boats. So where did they go?
They wouldn't need icebreakers. Well, maybe not. If what you're saying, because we would be talking about. Well, I guess the Noah's flood and the which is actually the same as the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? That's the last time this happened, supposedly.
Yes,
right?
that's the last time this happened. And supposedly, according to the crust of the Earth, it looks around 6,000 years ago. So ding, 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 the alarm clock's going off. It's like, well, it could happen anytime now.
Right.
Or in the next 4,000 years, because this happens every 6,000 to 10,000 years.
Oh, so the Danish, maybe?
Yes. Yes, the tribe of Dan, the Danes, the Vikings,
Wow.
Celts.
That's interesting. Okay, so I got to bring this up because, my Christian hat comes on because I spent my life, as a Christian. So that point of the whole point of view of, hey, when God destroyed the earth with the flood before, he gave us the rainbow and
Yes.
promised never to do it again.
Well,
Hmm.
I'm
Is
afraid
that why we have.
rainbow on the front cover. How funny is that?
Okay,
Okay,
so.
that's very funny, Mr.
Okay, so no, it's like, just when people are saying that it's going to get destroyed by water again, now all of a sudden we got the double rainbow saying, hey, I'm doubling down on my promise.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways we can look at that metaphysically.
Yeah.
That those who are ready will not be destroyed because they will move into 5D. They will go up. That's called rapture.
Yeah.
Because they live with atonement, which is at one-ment. They're at one with the bugs. They're at one with the animals. They're at one with the spiders and the cockroaches and the rats and the snakes, right? And most importantly, they're at one with each other. All human beings are one. So maybe the rainbow belongs to them because the promise is for them not to be reset into atomic structure. So the theory, if you follow the law of one, is that the baddies, they don't get destroyed. They get broken up into atoms, and they get to start over with the next cycle.
Sort of like our
what?
human body, deteriorating or, getting I'm just talking about the human 3D part of us, not our soul.
Like
but
born again, like being a baby on Earth again.
Yeah.
So if you're the baddie, meaning you're into greed and service to self, then you get to get broken up in the cycle and get to restart over with the new.
Nothing's really lost.
Nothing's lost. But you're starting over without any memory of what you've already been through. But then those who are in service to others, they really shouldn't start over. So there's the rainbow promise that this is not going to happen to you. You're going to go up to 5D. Fifth dimension, fifth density, new Earth.
So the double rainbow is the whole rainbow bridge.
Exactly. Now, do you want to pray every day to go to 5D? I'm sure not, because that means that the cataclysm has to come to set us off on our way to our new bodies, our new
But
Earth.
then there's the theory that, we're overdue for this cataclysm. It should have come already. And because we were so close to this graduation or harvest,
we're very
close to being prepared.
Yep,
they decided to go ahead and hold off the disasters and allow us this class to, class of 2020.
The more you hold off, the more get to join us. The longer it takes, the more come on board because of the work that we're all doing in our communities, in our families, at work, at school.
That's an optimistic view because, if you think about it, it's like saying that, like we were talking about how we used to feel like just let a meteor come and take us out and, it's letting us know, hey, it's not as bad as you think. It's not so bad that we need to do a full reset again. You guys are just about there.
You feel like, okay, it's coming, but maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah. It's coming. You can see that it's coming. It's
coming. Everything's changing. The Mandela effect, the rainbow, everything, right?
And then just everybody beginning to wake up and everything,
Maybe that's
more
God's
and more
promise,
people.
The Mandela effect, because everything's turning rainbow now.
Yeah.
Right?
And it could just be a direct relationship to just this human consciousness shift that we're in,
Fascinating, because maybe none of it's true. Maybe what we're in store for is much more wonderful than we could ever imagine.
Have you ever wondered, with the Mandela effect, if it was part of us merging our consciousness into having sort of like, when you listen to the Law of One and there you've got Ra. Ra is the social memory complex.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And perhaps, just these anomalies with the Mandela effect is just be part of us pulling into a group consciousness.
Atonement. You must atone before you can ascend through the rapture or to heaven. If you break the word down, it's at one ment.
Yeah.
Law of One, Ra, A Course in Miracles, you are all one. But that takes much further. You're not only one with animals, you're one with the cup. Yeah, that really works on your mind. It's a mind bender when you do the whole course. You realize that everything outside is you inside, and that you're projecting it out to experience it. So whatever you hold inside of you, you will experience. It's like you're a projector and you're throwing the scene up as you go. So if you're in a good mood and happy and feeling loved, you throw that scene out to experience it. And if you're sad and lonely and feeling neglected and abused, you throw that scene out in front of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a feedback, a circle that constantly confirms whatever you're feeling is what you experience out there, so that it can confirm that your feelings are legitimate. Because if you're all depressed and sad and lonely, and suddenly all these wonderful things started happening to you, you'd be like, what the heck? The earth and the world is nothing like I thought it was. That would
Yeah.
cause a crisis in paradigm belief. So you constantly feed out what you're feeling inside, so that you feel like everything's like copacetic, everything's fine. I can predict and control my world because this is how I believe it is. And then I'm going to make it that way so that it is always the way I believe it to be. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's powerful. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, really, we have the power to change our perception of everything right now. There's no waiting for anything, any kind of event to happen. I
We don't
mean,
have to make it go.
the event is you flipping that switch in the way you're perceiving everything. You
But
know,
we
you
might,
can really have it now.
if you and I decided tonight, oh, we've had enough of this place, we're ready, we understand this is all illusion, it's all smoke and mirrors, and I'm the projector, I'm the movie maker, right? We'd have to kind of almost disappear to move on. And I don't know where that would leave our
Is that
loved
how the
one.
Mayans did it?
Yeah, and how about the Anasazi in
But didn't they all disappear? It wasn't like a few got left behind, did they?
all together? So what if a group is powerful enough to say we're going? And
And
then,
it pulls everybody with them?
I mean, who knows? Maybe they leave a version of themselves behind, like NPCs. I was fascinated with last night's show. I was too tired to listen to it. Listened to it all day today. Wonderful. And I was thinking, yeah, okay. I can't, you guys like paraphrase me perfectly. I can't go along with the NPC as it's presented on most YouTube channels because of at one ment with all life. And you and April are exactly the same. But what if when your soul moves on and moves up, it leaves a version of you behind that no longer contains your soul because your soul is busy on a higher level?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then wouldn't that be an NPC that you're leaving behind
Yeah.
to kind of go to work and take care of family and, do the routine?
And I always think of those as like portals to be used for both good or evil. You know, it's like from the higher perspective, like, it's like, man, this guy showed up. He was like an angel. He, grabbed my kid and threw him out of the road. And so, maybe they're walking around as sort of just like a background person, but at some moment, if some kind of intervention needs to take place, like they're a portal for like this higher angelic being to hop in and do
Yeah.
something, or to just follow a command or say something, pass along. Because you hear people all the time, and it's like you can tell they're having a conversation, but part of it was for you. It's like, what caused that? What caused that? They don't know me. They don't even know I heard them. So it didn't come from them. It like kind of came through them
From a higher source.
from a higher source.
But what if that was from your higher source?
Right.
With the controls and going, hey, buddy, you need a message. I'm going to put it through these people sitting next to you on a
Right.
bus, right?
Yeah.
We'll never know. We'll never know any of this, but some of it's starting to make sense, don't you think?
Yeah.
And I think the internal gnosis is much more important than any book you could ever read.
And back to what we were saying, I wanted to bring back this point about, when we look in the mirror, if we need to fix our hair, we don't comb the mirror.
No.
And that's a lot of times how we try to attack, we shouldn't attack anyway, but how we try to approach fixing things is to try to comb the mirror, and that gets
right.
back into what you say about us projecting everything out.
Never thought of that. That was very deep. You need to put that in the book.
David Icke. David Icke is who I heard that from. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, David. That is like fixing the mirror, combing the mirror instead of combing your hair.
Yeah.
And if you think of it, we've never seen ourselves. I've never seen me. I've seen a photograph and I've seen a reflection in a mirror or a pond. I can't look at me.
Or tiny little pixels collected by a camera that puts tiny little pixels on the screen. You just have to trust it. And you have to trust the signal from whatever you're seeing into your brain, because it's all created in your brain. Your eyes just pick up the light signals, right?
That's why when they say the universe is within you, the entire universe is within you.
Yeah, it really is.
God is within you.
Yeah.
And it's you to project God out into whatever environment you find yourself.
Exactly.
That's pretty deep. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, that's what that gets back to the whole thing I always say about, where people get offended saying, you're saying you're God. I'm saying that I can't exist without God. God is that spark of life that makes us alive. Nobody can exist without God. You know what I mean?
Life on Earth is DNA. DNA holds the information of life. Yeah. And your DNA came from your mother and your father, but your mother and father passed on. Are they really gone? No, they donated and gave their DNA. It's alive inside of you right now. Same with God. You cannot separate yourself from God ever, 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 or you'd be dead. You wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
So that's my law of one. That's like atonement. It's the body of God is all life in the entire universes, in all dimensions, in all directions of time. If you take that and you step outside of that and you see it, that is God. Like God is amazing and huge. That explains why God can be petty and steal. Well, why is the person stealing? For fun? No, probably because they're hungry. And maybe the part of God in them wants to survive and wants to eat.
Yeah. Very good stuff.
Is that a bad thing? And maybe part of God is not emotionally mature yet. Like, when we're babies and we're growing and we're toddlers and we're hitting everything and everyone and stealing toys from each other.
Yeah.
Are you going to say children are not human beings because they don't act like a grown-up adult? No, they're still human. So maybe the pettiness and the darkness that we see around us, we call it greed, aggression, service to self. Maybe that's a part of God that hasn't matured yet. Maybe that's the young God. Just like the young human needs to be seriously contained. You certainly wouldn't take a 2-year-old and set them loose in Walmart, right?
Right.
Well, maybe that's how humanity works. Maybe humanity is on the toddler scale of life.
Yeah. They've allowed us into the tool shed a little bit, and we haven't done very good with it. You know what I mean?
No, we haven't. Not yet.
You took the hammer and started beating the crap out of stuff. You're like, all right, they're not ready for the tools yet. So.
But we have. I think humanity's so ready. Yeah. And the tiny 10% that rules it from greed, selfishness, aggression, that's the part we need to somehow slough off. Like the snake, skin.
Because I think a lot of people would come along, There would be some holdouts, of course, but...
I think most people would be, like, willing to share resources, right?
Yeah.
So...
And then a part of me is, like, thinking that it's going to be like with the Mandela effect. It's going to be like people see it happening, or they don't see it happening. It's like, oh, it's always been this way. People have always been nice. Money? What are you talking about, money? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah, somebody said today, was it Chick? She said that pi keeps changing, the number of pi. But I didn't ever memorize pi, so I couldn't say whether it changed or not for me.
Yeah, I didn't memorize it out that far to be able to.
So, and then SMQAI has been questioning the last couple of weeks, what about laws? How would we know if laws didn't get Mandela affected? And the Constitution of the United States could have been Mandela affected. You know what I mean? Anything can be Mandela affected. Maybe the Mandela effect is God's rainbow, is the sign that, hey guys, get your big boy and big girl pants on now because it's time. You either recycle and stay here and do it all again, or you move up and you go into middle school, So maybe that's just a sign that we need to prepare by being forgiving and loving.
Yeah, and you can really see how it will all snowball, have like a snowball effect if you can like sort of encompass that feeling of this new earth and this new way of being, and then that spills over into how you treat other people. You're more generous and kind, and and then in turn they treat people differently. So it really can have a contagious effect that I know would you know be far reaching.
Isn't that our whole community? Isn't that what we're here for?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the call that we heard, some of us who came from far away.
Mm-hmm.
We knew, wow, there's a lot of people right there, right now, ready to make that jump from the old paradigm to a whole new way of living in a whole new dimension. And now's the time. A lot of people optimistically, wasn't it Law of One, said that there's more ready to go now than ever before in any previous reset?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I need to really revisit that again, especially now that I got, of course, it's fun to cover stuff with Paulo with the Law of One because he's gotten into it. But now we got Aaron Apke who's gotten into it. It's like, I don't know, there's just not a lot of people, it seems, to talk to about the Law of One. And
a sidebar that you're very logical and you're very smart. You'll approach it from who you are. You won't go into it and let it become you and change you, because Carla, who was the channel, was very, very sick after channeling Ra, and her partner, who was the scribe, killed himself. So you've got this tragedy around the people who brought us the Law of One that is always put in the closet because it will somehow detract from the information. And if you read the 5 or 6 books, there's like a missing piece. The 6th book would be the atonement, the Law of One, where all life forms are one with each other and with God, no matter how low they are and no matter how high they are, on the earth, off the earth, in the dimension, out of the dimension. It removes all fear. It removes entities. It removes demons, fallen angels. It removes all of that because now you're one with everything. And that's the book that's missing. And it may not have been faulting the material, but maybe the vessels that were bringing the material forth just got to a point where they couldn't handle it, and it cut off early. It cut off before the Law of One was fully explained.
Seems like they knew, though.
You think so?
Well, when I say they, I mean the Ra, the social memory complex. Ra knew what was about to come. I mean, when you kind of, I don't know. It's like, I think they asked about a place they were going to move, and they still gave them advice on how to like cleanse the place. But it sounded like they kind of knew. I don't know. Knowing the end of it's coming while you're reading through it.
It was almost too much for them, though. It was almost. Don't you think it was too much for Don Elkins, who committed suicide? He wrote all the books, and he couldn't live with.
He was the scribe, or the one that.
Yeah, Carla, his partner, laid down, went into trance, and channeled the information, and he wrote all the books. And then he went, oh my God, I can't live with this. I think it was that threat of the event, that threat of the shift. Or like you and I talking about the mantle moving and doing an earth reset and being totally okay with it. We've moved on. Wasn't that written in the 80s, like 82?
So you think the fear would just, a lot of people, I'm like, I'm not really worried about it. If that's how it plays out, it's going to be exciting, right?
I think we've moved into a new, more healthy viewpoint of it. And I
know at least 5 people that would be like, that would be awesome. I wouldn't have to go to work tomorrow. You know what I mean? At least a handful of people.
And that's not how Earth should be, because Earth is so abundant. You could all easily live here and share the resources and still have a house and a car and do what you love doing. Mm-hmm. That's possible. That's not impossible.
It really isn't. But they want us to live by lack. To have that feeling of lack, or there's not enough, or resources are running dry.
Those who control the lack have the resources. They have, billionaires instead of millionaires.
Plus all the technology that would completely revolutionize everything here.
You wouldn't no wars in the Middle East because you wouldn't need petroleum anymore. You wouldn't need gas anymore. You wouldn't need electricity anymore.
How many of these earthquakes would stop if they stopped fracking and drilling into the ground?
It's amazing. Michael Tellinger always talks. Who else? Stephen Greer. They're both talking about 40 years of going from when you let go of petroleum and fossil fuels and you use the clean, free energy from ether, from plasma, and you use the Tesla devices to suck. He did it. I saw it. He was like standing there holding a light bulb in the middle of the grass that just lit up. He had that tower with that round thing on it. So he knew how to suck the energy out of the air, which is plasma, and light up everything for free, cleanly. And as soon as we go into that kind of a society, boom, there's no, I don't know how they erase hunger, but apparently it erases hunger because everybody has the same energy and it's free. Wow. But do you think really that the people who are warring in the Middle East and selling us gasoline are going to go that route? That they're going to go, let's bring out some free, clean energy. It's just not, it's got to come a different way.
Seems like it would take at least a generation if something major didn't sort of cause the cleanup. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. Now we're really getting into some fun stuff here. So some of you, I know who you are. Close your ears and go la, 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 la for just like 2 minutes.
Uh-oh.
That explains the aerial geophysical aerial spraying.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the solar minimum, high magnetism could hit the Earth. One good geomagnetic storm, if it's really strong, could knock out the electricity and the power grids, and the lines, the metal lines would fry like they did in like 1818 when we got some kind of a big CME hit North.
Transformers would it be blowing up? It would be,
You're bad. Talking at least 3 years of darkness, not 3 days. Right. Where we have to rebuild our electrical grids. Well, maybe something like that. It would be easier to bring out the Tesla free, clean energy instead of trying to start over with the horse and carriage with the AC/DC energy and laying all the lines. Imagine having to relay every electrical wire in North America at once. So in that, a CME would be a good thing because it would knock out the current power grid.
But we'd have no for too long.
No YouTube, no phones.
It's almost like somebody would need to be like stockpiling all these, I don't know, free energy meter boxes on the homes, and then because you'd still need it at the places that need energy, and then at whatever the power source is. And I don't know if they have to have repeaters located at different places, but at what if it could be prepared for.
I know this is going into science fiction, guys. What if that's what 5G really is? What if they're saying, we know it's coming. The CME is coming. We're not going to miss it forever. We're spraying electrical reflective particles that reflect it back, but that's not going to work either. We know the whole grid's going to come down, and maybe they've got the Tesla plasma energy set up in the 5G system, and they're putting it everywhere. Like, the old system was every 5 miles, and now it's every couple of streets, right?
So what if maybe they do have some diabolical plan with the 5G or whatever, but
although that would give us our cell phones back after
then we get hit by the CME, and it's able to be quickly converted into this free energy network.
Saying maybe they're setting that up now.
There's so many different ways of looking at it. It doesn't all have to be bad, It
could be good. A flash and a CME could be good.
Yeah.
It could be a good thing if it leads to free energy and gets us off our dependence for fossil fuels, which burn dirty.
And then just think about what that would lead to. Like all these places, like they could dig in places where there might be a well or some kind of water source that they can tap into. It would give them, or desalinization plants that, they just need power to just tap into the ocean water or something. You know what I mean?
Powers around you. It's in the ether, in the air. This is plasma science. It's ether. It used to be called ether in the 1800s.
That would really even the playing board.
But even the playing board for everybody.
That's what they don't want. That's why exactly.
South America, who don't own the oil companies that are having the wars in the Middle East to control. It's not about the flow of gas and oil in the Middle East. It's about the flow of the petrodollar, because all those uppity Middle Eastern countries want to sell their oil in their own currency. How dare they? And every time they do that, boom, the banks go in with their private military called the United States military, and they stop them from selling their oil and gas in their own currency. It's a petrodollar. It's inflating a currency to keep the world global financial market stable. Because if the dollar fell, they always say if America hiccups, the rest of the world catches a cold. Isn't that it? Or if America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold.
It's a petrodollar that makes that connection.
They keep protecting to keep all markets working the way they are currently on air, based on no value, right? I mean, we don't own the petroleum, so why is our dollar based on some other many countries' petroleum? Those aren't our fields.
Yeah.
That's not our land. That's not our oil.
Just one of many problems that need to be fixed, right?
I know. I hate to say it, but maybe CME would fix all that when all the satellites went out and all the electronics went out. But here's the problem. Which side of the earth is going to get hit? The American side or the Russian side? Who's going to be facing the sun when the CME comes and leaves the other power with satellites and electricity?
Yeah. So that makes me wonder, why do we see such an uptick in satellites being launched? Is it because of Elon Musk, the rockets he's using, or do they launch these things all the time we just don't see?
Is it because of these geomagnetic storms?
Well, I'm just wondering if they, like you would think, they have tried to line them with gold or do something to try to, make them CME proof.
Go up there with lasers to protect them.
There's got to be some kind of CME proof way of, you know what I mean? Because it's an electromagnetic pulse. I mean,
back to the Anunnaki, isn't that gold?
Yeah.
Didn't they line? I mean, who knows?
Atmosphere.
Yeah, but when they went to the moon, even if they didn't, right? I saw some of those things, and they were like lined in tinfoil gold. Does gold reflect all that radiation back?
Well, I mean, if you even think about, the fact that microwaves are basically a Faraday cage, so I'm sure they could make some kind of cage around the software or the electronics of the satellites to make them, more resistant. Maybe that's what they're swapping out a bunch of stuff.
The Federal Reserve made every American turn in their gold in like 1922. One of those years, it was against the law to hold gold. You had to turn it in.
And it was Bashar that said that if we really wanted to fix our atmosphere, we would spray gold in our atmosphere, like the Anunnaki supposedly were mining gold from here for their planet. So, but we hoard it, and
Well, not we. Well, none of us have gold anymore. All the gold, we don't even know where it is. Yeah. Like all the Americans who turned over their gold in the 1920s to the government, it was kept at the Federal Reserve, right? It's gone. It's not.
Wasn't there a bunch in the bottom of the World Trade Center too?
That's the theory. I mean, it's crazy what's happened to gold. I mean, if you could see where it is and where it's stockpiled and what it's intended for and what it's used for, we have no clue. It could be fantastic, the story of what that gold is really for.
Yeah, it's amazing to think they could spray it in the atmosphere, and that would just be a waste, though, wouldn't it?
I just keep hearing that it's aluminum, barium, and strontium, and lithium. I never hear gold is being sprayed up in the atmosphere today. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I
think it would be good for us, too.
So we've covered a lot today, but something's coming. I don't know if it's our lifetime or not. It feels like, I don't know, because I'm getting close to 60. So I may not see this.
What if if they started spraying monatomic gold up there?
Is that like nanoparticles?
That's like, what the, I don't know, what did they call it? Somebody can help me out, but it's supposed to,
Ronnie, our aerospace engineer. What does that mean?
Yeah, the monatomic gold, it's like the ancient stuff. Some of it, they said they would levitate things with it, but other people would actually ingest it. And it's supposed to, turn on your, your pineal gland and stuff.
Oh my goodness, because I just bought gold. But it's colloidal, okay? So you can buy colloidal silver drops to get rid of colds.
Yeah.
And then I read that the same company makes for like $30 a bottle colloidal gold. They also make colloidal copper, but I'm not an Rh negative blood, so I don't need copper. I'm O positive. So I just bought some gold and I clean the water. So I put in trace minerals occasionally.
So you're Rh positive. Is that the rare one or not the rare one?
One that gives blood to everybody. I can give blood to everybody.
I'm just wondering about.
I think it's really common. I think it's the kind of blood you can mix with the A and the B. The AB.
Right. But it was Rh. I couldn't remember if it was positive or negative. Is the one that
negative super.
One of them's really rare, though.
Negative. Yep, like 5% or 15% of the 15%, population.
15%, I think, is what I heard. Yeah.
Mostly in the Basque region of where we speak those unusual languages. That's interesting. They don't even speak like Latin or German or French. They have their own Basque language.
Oh. Ronnie says she has no idea. Mon is 1. Atomic means atom.
Okay. What about colloidal, Ronnie?
Probably breaking down the...
Because you take it up like a dropper and you put it in your glass, one dropper, and it's clear like water.
Yeah, I know about the silver stuff because that if you do too much of it, you start turning gray, right?
Seriously?
Or blue, I think it is. Yeah, really? If you look it up, look up too much colloidal silver.
Holy moly, that is so interesting. Like if you eat too many carrots, you turn orange, for real.
So I'm wondering about this gold. Will we turn golden if we too much colloidal
I would say
gold?
Probably.
That'd be awesome.
Although I wouldn't want too much of anything, you know.
Yeah,
but maybe
cool.
I'd like to do a meditation tonight about closing your eyes, feeling good, and letting your purpose come to you. Because I'm at a stage where I know what my purpose is. You probably do. But I get emails. There's a lot of people, all ages, going, well, how come I never figured out my purpose? And I'm like, well, you're probably living your purpose, but you just don't recognize it. You probably just don't realize it. Like, oh, I am? Well, I'm like, yeah, well, think of all the people you've touched in your life that if you weren't here would be different than they are. And they're different because of you.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh, so I did have a purpose after all. And it's like, purposes don't have to be lofty, well-paid, or famous at all.
And I often say that with just our group, you know, everybody that comes, it's like the group is the group. With everyone that comes, it would be nothing, you know, without everybody here. So
yeah, this would be pointless.
So it helps to have other people to talk to. So this is really important that, you know, it is kind of a community thing. And it is cool that, you know, we provided a place for people to hang out and talk.
And it attracts people.
I always forget because I hate to repeat myself over and over in shows, but Eileen's channel link is in the description box below. So for all you guys that I haven't said it in a while, so it is down there, and please do go subscribe.
Thank you. My channel's itty bitty, and I'm happy with it that way because my videos are very fringy, aren't they? They're very fringy videos. Here it's a little more normal. You know, this is the normal, relaxed Eileen, and my videos are like, let's look at this. Isn't this weird? Isn't this, you know?
Yeah. But that's what's fun about it, you know? Yeah. And I think as long as we're networking together, even if they're not helping us out with the algorithms, you know, just sharing each other's information will, you know, get people to subscribe. Because I think mine says I gained 2 all month now. Or I'm gaining 2 a month or something. That's really bad. It was like -6.
A month when you were gaining 500 a month. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And
now I'm like right around 0. Some days I lose, sometimes I gain.
Yeah, and now I'm like -2 a month.
Isn't that something?
It's just weird, but you know, we're invisible. I have checked under different names.
Yeah.
Going onto YouTube, and we've been made completely invisible but people find us still.
Yeah.
And look at all the people we got. You got 15,000 people before those negative algorithms took hold. So you got like all these people that otherwise would struggle to find you.
Yeah, and even still, when I get a link shared around and people will re-find me again and say, "Oh, for some reason I got unsubscribed." So there is something going on with that. But
and you bring them other people. You bring me, you got Michelle, you got Sherry, you got all these voices working in one place that most channels don't have. Most channels have one voice. So you don't get the variety of the paranormal, the event. We talk a lot about manifestation and religion on the Saturday show.
And it is nice to be able to talk about that with open-minded people.
Yep.
It's such a fun topic, but
getting ice and getting a drink in the background. Can you hear the ice cubes? I make my own ice cubes. I don't even let those come out of the fridge anymore. It's like I can't get to the line. I can't clean it. I can't get the mold out of the water line.
I know what yeah.
Can you make ice quieter?
Let's see. So, did you have a topic for tonight?
You guys want to do life purpose, like relaxing back into like your childhood? It's not a regression, because regressions take really skilled people and a lot of time, but you just relax back into your childhood and into a comfortable, happy time. And then you relax back to right before your childhood, before your earliest memory. What did you come here to do? Did you come to experience something? Did you come to share something? Did you come to learn? Did you come to give? Did you come to grow? And the answer is probably yes to all of those, right?
Yeah.
But it's nice to go back in your mind in a happy way and just think about, well, why did I come here? Yeah. Except for Ronnie, because you were forced here. And a lot of people feel like they were forced here to do their work here. But it's still good to go back and go, okay, well, now that I'm here, what's the good side of that? What do I get out of it? What do I take with me?
Yeah, 'cause she feels like she came here scratching and
yeah, a lot of people do, and they call it a prison planet. They feel like this is a punishment, which is okay, because it can be one person's hell, can be the other person's heaven, and they might be sitting side by side. And one will go, "This is really hellish," and the other person will go, "No, it's like heaven here," and they can be in the exact same spot.
It's all about perception, isn't it?
It's all about perception, because the movie makers inside throwing that out everywhere it goes.
Yeah, I've seen it happen so many times, just with people coloring things from their perception,
Yeah.
It happens a lot with race, like somebody might think someone's prejudiced just because of how they're acting, then, they begin to see them that way, like see them as being prejudiced and everything they do. It could just be like we had this guy at this one place I worked at. He was just a real jerk, you know what I mean? And nobody liked him, but he thought people didn't like him because of his race. But they didn't have a problem with any of the other people of his race.
Everybody was racist, and everybody thought he was racist.
And then he turned around, and it made him like more just angry and not, not sociable with people, and which brought more back to him.
It's that feedback loop. You keep putting out what you think the world is, so that you get confirmation. Yes, that's exactly the way the world is. Yep, you're right. That's the way the world is. So it's all based on what you put out, the feedback loop. So like one of the, I don't know who wrote it, somebody famous probably. It's like a couple walking in the rain in New York City in the autumn, in the evening, and they're on the same street. And they pass each other. And one couple, they've decided to get divorced. And they're like, darn it. Even the sky is crying. Even the sky is raining on us. It's cold. It's miserable. And we don't even want to be together. And the other couple walking the opposite way has just decided to get married. And they're skipping in the rain. And they're laughing. And they're eating raindrops. And like putting their faces up to the rain and going, isn't it wonderful? Isn't rain fun? And you got totally two different perspectives of the same raindrops in the same place.
Hugging each other to get warm and cuddling, and the other, they don't even want to touch each other, so they're freezing.
Oh my God, it's raining. When can we get in and get away from each other? This is miserable. It's cold. And the other people just skipping through puddles. It's kind of like watching kids. We're like, don't get in the splash. Kids in the puddle. It sounds fun to a kid, but not to a mom and a dad who don't maybe want to clean up the shoes, the sneakers,
have wet socks on the way home.
socks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the things that make us not do that when we get older, because we've lived through it. We're like, oh, yeah, I don't want to. That sucked walking 3 blocks with wet socks on, so I won't do that.
Maybe that was the message from Jesus. Be like a child and see the world through the child's eyes and go hop in some mud puddles.
And just deal with the wet feet, but have fun with it.
And the mud and the muck and the wet car and the dirty rug in the car. Just enjoy life.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, are you okay with that? Are you okay with life's purpose?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool beans. I'm going to put this scary book away that only Shane and I can talk and laugh at, really.
And you're going to do some bowls and stuff with it, or is that after?
No, I wish I could. I'm like so not talented with bowls. Okay. But, you know, maybe somebody in ESETI can play my bowl. Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think I can do it. I wish you could play it. I could give it to you through the screen and you could play the bowl while I do the meditation. Because that would be super cool. Or if we had like meditation music. Should you want to create some meditation music?
No, this is good.
Okay. I'm just playing the E solar plexus bowl. But I'm going to give you guys a zap of the pineal gland. Perfect. Am I saying it right, or do you say pineal?
I say pineal, but I've heard it either way.
I like, there's so many words I don't. I've lived in so many places that say things differently. I no longer know how to say anything. Okay, so this is the pineal bowl that decalcifies your Anja chakra, third eye. Very loud. Let's see how loud it can go. That is getting so loud. Didn't that get loud?
Yeah, you can actually tell when the wave came by the mic because it would get really loud and then it would.
Do you think the wave goes in my hand? Do you think it's my hand?
No, I don't think it's the hand, because I remember when Sandy was doing it in Austin, I was totally imagining, because I could hear the sound going around the room, and I was imagining her hand moving with it, and then I opened my eyes and looked at her hand, and it was going completely different than the sound. So no, it's definitely
it's the bowl. The bowl moves around the room.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think at one point it was even moving the opposite direction that her hand was moving.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's not even, it's completely unrelated to the hand. It's weird because it would like, woo, 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 and you just totally imagine her hands going around like this, but she'd be barely moving and be like, woo, 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 woo. So
it got really loud for me. I don't know if it got really loud for you, did it?
It didn't get super loud, but I could tell it was loud. Yeah.
I got super loud. Like this whole little room that I live in, which has a tiny little dining room, decent sized living room, tiny little kitchen. The whole room was just like vibrating with it. And it seemed to be going around this way.
Does it make you dizzy when you do the pineal gland one? Or no?
Does it make you dizzy?
Do you close your eyes with it?
Nope, I keep them open. Did you?
Yeah, when I close my eyes with it,
you got dizzy?
It makes your head swim.
If I closed my eyes and played the bowl, I would fall off the chair. I'm on a bar stool. My daughter talked me into the bar stool dining room chair where like my feet don't even touch the ground. So I'm not closing my eyes.
Oh. Perfect.
Okay. So I have so much stuff here tonight. But anyway, yeah. Big changes. The event. We are on the horizon of the event. It is coming. The shift is coming. Okay, I better put off my video and move the bowls just a little bit. So I do close my eyes when I do the meditation. So I don't want to be clanging into bowls with my eyes closed. So if everybody can take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in, go ahead and fill up your lungs, get that oxygen circulating in your blood, and exhale all of it out. Now, as you breathe in, Fill up the bottom of your lungs first, extend your tummy, and then fill the middle part and the top part of your lungs. Hold it and exhale. And as you exhale, release any tension in your body. And finally, on the third breath in, just take a natural deep breath in, hold it, and release. And we're going to start breathing in through our heart center or our heart chakra. And we're going to exhale back out of our heart center. And as we continue to breathe in through our hearts, we're going to go ahead and take in a color from the rainbow or take in the whole rainbow. And exhale that color back out into the room. And as you continue to breathe these beautiful crystalline colors in through your heart, let them fill up your body on the inside before you exhale them back out. Now would be a good time to shoot down a grounding cord from your root chakra to the center of the earth, where you let it spread out in all directions once it reaches the core, the heart of the earth. And now as you breathe these beautiful colors in through your heart, you can shoot them up your chakras and out the top of your head. And you can shoot them down your chakras and into the center of Mother Earth herself. And exhale. Just breathe comfortably in and out of your heart, drawing these beautiful colors in, bringing them up through your chakras, bringing them down through your chakras, and exhaling them back out. Now, instead of imagining doing something we love or being in a beautiful part of nature, we're going to go back in a relaxed time right now, right here in our mind's eye. And if you can't see it, you can feel it. And you can maybe hear it or sense it or smell it. Think of a time when you were a child doing something that you loved doing. It could be playing baseball, it could be swimming, it could be doing art, it could be going to school, playing with friends on the block. One that comes to my mind is we used to play kick the can on our block in the summertime with lightning bugs, fireflies all around us until dark. And then being one of the youngest ones, I always had to go in the earliest when it got dark. But we would be kicking that can all over the place and hiding in bushes and behind trees and fences. So I'm back at that time and really enjoying it. So just be there for just a moment. Take it in. How does it make you feel? Joyful? Full of expectation for the next day? Full of hope? Full of love? Of course, there's some disappointments that children experience as well, but we're not going to dwell on those. We're going to actually dwell on feeling good, feeling happy, feeling safe as a child. And now, once you're comfortable with that, let yourself go back in your mind's eye even further to right before you were born. Right before your earliest memory. My earliest memory, I was 18 months old in a crib upstairs in a bedroom on a wooden floor. And I could see my mother coming and going through that door. So I would stand up and hold bars and scooch with all my might to get close to that door. Because on the other side of that door, that's where the magic happened. That's where Mom was. That's where my sister and my brother were. That's where my dad was. That's where their dogs were. So now go back before your first memory, and just feel comfortable. What does that feel like? Do you see a color? Is there purple? Are there greens? Are there oranges, yellows, reds? What about blue? What color do you sit in right before you are born into this world, into your family, into your country, into your town, into your ethnicity, into your church, into your school, into your friends? And when you're sitting there, ready, excited, getting ready to be born, and have all these experiences that a human being does have in a lifetime. What are you looking forward to most? Is it the physical comfort of having a hug or a kiss? Is it the expression of creating a piece of art or a song or a poem? Is it the communication of having a friend, somebody that you can say anything to? And now that you're feeling this and really examining what being on earth in a human body as a spirit brings you, what is your purpose for being here? Why did you come? What was it that was attractive about being a human on earth in this century, at this time, in this place? Was it the colors, the vibrant colors on earth? Was it the textures, the feel of wet grass on your feet? The feel of crumpling up aluminum foil in your hands when you're cooking or making a piece of art? Was it the sounds, the music that could be played on all the different instruments? Or the sound of the birds in the morning at dawn when they start to sing before the sun comes up? Was it family, connecting with people that you love, even if they're not your family by blood, but your family by spirit? A friend that you meet along the way, a coworker that you work with. Family by spirit that you could share and tell anything to and not feel judged. So just kind of sit in what your purpose is, why you came here now, and really appreciate everything that this earth has to offer you, and really appreciate everything that you have to offer this earth. We'll do 3 minutes of silence, just appreciating and enjoying that reciprocal relationship, what earth gives you and what you give earth, what humans give you and what you give humans, what animals give you, what you give animals, and what vegetation and minerals give you and what you give the vegetation and the minerals. So that was a pretty fast 3 minutes. Before you open your eyes, did you realize that you came here to teach, even if you're not called a teacher? Did you realize that you came here to learn? A lifelong student, always? Did you realize you came here to give something that only you can give? And you came here to take what others willingly and lovingly give to you. Start to move around, especially your neck and shoulders. Move your feet, your hands. Release your grounding cord back into the center of the earth where it disappears. And open your eyes.
And we are back.
We are back.
That was really powerful imagery.
Where'd you go? Did you I stayed in the dark. I was in a dark womb the whole time.
I guess I was in darkness, but looking out to the life, you know what I mean? So it was like I was in darkness, but looking out to...
Me too.
Sort of like, I don't know, like all at one time or something.
Yeah, like seeing Earth and your life all at once, right in front of you. Far away, though.
Yeah.
Far away.
Yeah.
I'm going there.
Almost like a game board.
Yeah, it felt good, though.
Game board, yeah.
And sometimes I think our purpose is just to be. That's it. You came here, and you are doing exactly what you came here to do, to experience life on Earth and grow from it.
Yeah. Ultimate learning that love is the answer.
And giving that love back to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good stuff.
We got a pretty good group. We got our heads on straight. I think we're ready for this event.
I know I am.
We're ready for New Earth. We're ready
whenever it happens. I'm cool with however it plays out.
But we're ready to start 5D and go, hey, how do you guys want to do it now? How do we do it differently? You know, that'd be so much fun setting things up like that benefited everybody.
Yeah.
How
just
cool.
Shift in heartbeat. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. But I'm not rushing it either because I'm really enjoying it here. I'm really, really enjoying Earth right here, right now. So I'm not rushing it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Jane said it made her cry.
Oh.
So awesome.
Yeah, we don't do that often, do we, Jane? We get used to it. We meditate every weekend, and I'm glad that touched you.
Yeah. That
brought
was
us
powerful.
Back to our childhood, to how we were when we were children.
Great meditation. So yeah, everybody's chiming in. Everybody loved it. So that's it's neat that we saw it similarly, though. I wonder how many other people saw it.
Yeah, how many other people out there were you in complete darkness looking at the Earth in your life, way in the distance in front of you?
Very colorful, though.
Very
colorful, but a distance.
Whatever colors they want. It's like whatever you need is the color you see.
Yeah.
I saw complete darkness, and all the colors are in black, aren't they? Or are all the colors in white? How does that work?
Black, I think.
Okay.
Without light. Yeah.
Feels like
and
all the
color we see are the particles that's bouncing back at us.
So I was comfortable in that. It wasn't scary and it wasn't off-putting. It was quite comfortable.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Eileen, for another great meditation. And
thank you, Shane. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for letting me play my bowls. I'm sure somebody can play them better at ESETI. I'll bring one.
Very nice. Yeah, you're going to bring the third eye one?
I'm going to, definitely, because people might want to take it to the meditation room and play it to kind of decalcify their third eye.
That'd be nice.
Seeing those aliens. Mm-hmm. And Bigfoot. Mm-hmm.
That's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be something if it started playing itself? Just leave it like on a tree stump?
Oh, my God.
See the little thing going around?
What did Yeti do with it?
I don't know. Hopefully they're not too rough with it.
I can always get another one. I don't want to, but they're $110. It's not like $10,000.
Right.
It might disappear. The elementals might take it, and then I'll be like, "Oh, where's my bowl?" And he's
oh man! All All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap this one up. Thank you again, and we'll be back next week. Lots of love and light to all of you guys watching now and later.
And Sharon on Wednesday if she's not working. She's doing the contact in the community.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Bye. Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.